Hey guys, Luke here, and I'm here to do another 2015 NRL transfer. In this episode, going to be going over the transfer of Dane Nielson, moving from the New Zealand Warriors to the St George Illawarra Dragons. So let's get into it. And also, I just want to point out, I think it's quite comical that he's rated 86 rated on this game. But I suppose at the time of the last game, which is where I think the ratings are from, he was a State of Origin caliber player. So how things have changed from then. The player doesn't look like him, so we're just going to turn the back because it looks like kind of like Gareth Widdop from here. So obviously it doesn't look like Dane Nielson, but you got all these details there. So let's get into talking about what do I think of his transfer or his signing. I think for the Dragons, probably a good signing. I think he's worth the risk. Obviously, we know there is some talent. He has played for State of Origin. You don't just play for State of Origin and just lose it. But at the same time, I think he got made to look a lot better than he actually was at the Storm. I think we've seen like Will Chambers is a better centre than him. I think it's just a matter of they didn't have anyone else really at that stage. I think Chambers was still playing Union when he played, and a few things like that where obviously Nielsen was just next in line by default really, and also because he played at the Storm, so he had the connections, probably had people vouching for him. A move to the Warriors was not a successful one to say the least. I think he ended up getting dropped in the end. Probably should have been dropped a long time ago. I don't know what it was. He just didn't have it. I know he wasn't a great attacker at the Storm, but I don't know. He was pretty good defensive, but he just didn't have it. And maybe that's the Warriors' fault. I know they're not the best, the strongest defensive outfit, especially with people like Vadavai and stuff who, a bit hot and cold. Harrell, not that Harrell's playing outside of him, but the wingers and stuff. They don't seem to be able to read the game very well in terms of coming in, going out, all that sort of stuff, and going from like a well-structured team from the Storm to the Warriors who have no structure at all. It's a pretty big change for Nielsen in terms of like attack, defense, everything. So I can see why he'd be a bit out of whack, but you would have thought after 2 seasons he would have adjusted. And if you're a real top talent like a State of Origin player, you'd think you'd be able to adjust to it. We're not expecting him to be some superstar, but in terms of you getting dropped for Dominic Peru, something's wrong. But obviously, like I said, there is some sort of talent in him. He was at the Storm. Bellamy's has a good eye for talent. And I think in terms of the Dragons, what they need, I think a centre was right up there. I know they lost Brett Morris, and it's a big loss for him. But I think you can make up for a winger. I don't know who they have, but I suppose Matati or someone. But Nielsen, I think he's a good step forward in terms of he's pretty good defensive, and if he plays in a bit of a structured lineup, he might be pretty good. Also, he's got Widdop maybe inside of him, who he's a bit more familiar with. He's played with him a little bit with the Storm in the Storm system, so that's good. Might be good for him, and also I think it's good for Dragons. The best thing is that it allows Josh Dugan to move back to fullback. Now I am 100% certain that Josh Dugan only played centre just so he can make it into the New South Wales side, because Jared Hayne was never losing that spot. So the only alternative was Dugan to move to the centres, and he got lucky with all the injuries working in his favour, and he ended up there. But yeah, I expect him to be back fullback because the Origin spot's up for grabs with Hayne leaving. There's only really like Brett Stewart, him, Moylan. I think that's it really. As much as the papers would tell you there's so many players, there's probably down to those three. But yeah, I think Nielsen he's good. He's got a little bit of experience. He's played under some of the great coaches, so that's what he brings to the side. But I think he's probably a good signing. I don't think he would have been on much. So no, he's worth the risk in my opinion. And that's where I'm going to leave the episode. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. Hopefully you can drop a like. And hopefully you can subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.